Hello, I am Bode Olasinde. In the last session, I talked to you about becoming seasoned. And I tried to give illustration about seasoned people and how you can describe somebody somebody as a seasoned person. I made it clear that though it is not in common use today to talk about seasoned people, it is important that we now need to think about having seasoned people around us. I did mention that seasoned people are people who have been around for a while, doing certain activities consistently to the extent that they acquire skills that are relevant, they've gained experience and wisdom, and this wisdom has given them great positioning in today's world, which also gives them great proposition, both for now and for future. Today, I'll be talking to you about key factors for becoming seasoned. Remember that I mentioned that you become seasoned through different stages and seasons of life. Therefore, I'm going to be talking about three key factors. Number one factor is experience. Experience. The experience you have as a result of your involvement in day-to-day activities in terms of your education, work, social skills, relationships, and problem solving. People who go to school or who have gone to acquire training are assumed to have been educated. But education is not enough. Whether you have gone to the university or you've gone to the polytechnic or you've been to schools or you've been to training schools or vocational schools to acquire skills, it does not really matter. What matters is what you do with the education you have received. Education is part of man's experience. You learn, you interact, you do. And all of your learnings ought to be applied into problem solving. After being educated, you are either involved in a vocation or you are employed somewhere, dispensing services or contributing to productivity. Whatever you do on a daily basis form part of your experience in life. And in many, many organizations, there is a need to have experienced people around who will use their wealth of experience or the values and attributes they've acquired from their past experience to solve today's problems. Experience is important. Experience is what makes one man to resolve what about 15 people are struggling with because they don't have enough know-how or enough knowledge, or they've not really gone through that phase in their lives. Experience is bringing to bear what you have come across in the past to solve today's problems. Experienced teachers are great in handling the diversities of pupils or students' problems. Experienced principals are great administrators. They may be able to use their experience in school A to solve problems in school B and school C. We need experienced administrators, experienced surgeons, experienced lawyers or solicitors who have got a lot of wealth in their brain, who can refer to how a previous problem was solved, a previous matter was interpreted, and they can make great impact in making things work much more easily in the current period. Close to experience is exposure. Of course, every living person is exposed to different seasons of life exposure to success, exposure to challenges, exposure to questions of life, exposure to histories and cultures of people, exposure to diversities of talents, exposure to different types of people who are part of your team, exposure to your mentor, exposure to your mentee, exposure to your customers, exposure to different types of people and times. Just like the wood could be exposed to the drought or the dry season and the wet season, yet it remains wood. Seasoned people, through their exposures, become better. They become taught. They become trained. They become equipped for handling ensuing challenges in a very, very proactive manner. Seasoned people are able to respond because they are exposed. So it is important that for a person to become seasoned, his experience must count and his exposure must count. Those who have been around for a long time, doing one business or engaging in one practice, are both people that have been exposed and experienced. When you combine both, they lead you to a third factor, and the third factor is expertise. It is possible for people to be experienced without becoming an expert. It is also possible for people to be exposed without gaining expertise. A combination of experience and exposure, which yields an expertise, makes one become seasoned. If you have been there as a footballer, you've practiced and rehearsed in the different seasons, you've played with a number of teams here and there, you've gained both experience and you've gained exposure. You've played in different terrains, you've gained experience, you've gained exposure. Those combination of your experiences and your exposure are likely to project you as an expert. What does it mean to be an expert? When you are an expert, you have acquired skills and you're able to engage the skills in handling different issues of life. An expert is also a person with lots of wisdom, a person with skills not only for handling work, not only for handling equipment, but also for handling people. A person with people skills, a person who can relate well, a person who knows how to relate with people when they have different demeanors. You become an expert. It is expected that people in our world, people in different engagements, become experts through their experiences and through their exposures. I've shared with you today 3 key factors that can make you become seasoned. Number 1 is your experience. Let your experience count. Number 2 is your exposure. Exposure matters because exposure gives you access to great opportunities, and those opportunities become your learning point, which can make you become a reference point. But above all, with all exposure and experience, you must become an expert. I'd like to close this session today, and it will be my pleasure to invite you to join me in the next session when I will be talking about the image of a seasoned person. Thank you for listening.